It was January 29th, 1972, when two adventurous friends, 20-year-old Lyle Kelly and his 19-year-old buddy Philip Dunn, decided to explore the beautiful Piccaninnie Ponds in South Australia. They were excited to dive into the famous caves in the area, known for their stunning underwater scenery. What began as a fun day of exploration for these two young men quickly turned into a heartbreaking situation when one of them didn't make it back to the surface. So, what really happened that day? Who was the friend that didn't return? Did he manage to survive? And what led to this unfortunate event? Join us as we dig deeper into the story behind the tragic diving incident at the Piccaninnie Ponds. And please don't forget to subscribe. Let's take a quick look at what the Piccaninnie Pond is made of. So, Piccaninnie Pond is actually a national park present in South Australia near the infamous Mount Gambier. Since the early 60s, this location, like many other sites in the region, has been quite famous for snorkeling and deep water diving. Now, for cave divers, there are basically 3 points of interest in the park. The first one is First Pond, an open and clear water depression which goes into the depth of just 10 meters. Has a slit floor and contains lots of aquatic life. The second spot is the Chasm, a sinkhole with a depth of 100 meters, making a complete package cave for divers who are looking for a bit of a challenge. The third spot of this location is an enclosed underwater area that's lined with limestone rocks and goes into a depth of 35 meters. This one is known as Cathedral. Every year, the area gets lots of visitors, and because of multiple reasons. Firstly, all three spots provide a different kind of experience and adventure that divers who have different level of expertise can enjoy. Secondly, the underwater visibility at this site is excellent and can go up to 40 meters. Despite all of this, there's something that makes this location quite dangerous too. Over the years, many divers have lost their lives in these caves, and beneath the clear water lies a complex system which can confuse even the expert divers, causing them to get hundreds of feet beneath the surface. The 1972 incident. Now back to the incident. In January 1972, 20-year-old Lyle Kelly, who lived in Hampton, was visited by his 19-year-old friend Philip Dunn from Victoria. Together, the duo decided to visit the Piccaninnie Ponds for a bit of swimming, exploring, and some cave diving. Up until this point, none of the two youngsters had tried cave diving and had almost no knowledge or training of it. They gathered water equipment they could get their hands on and set out towards the location. On Saturday, the 29th of January, at about 4:30 p.m., the duo began their first dive with their scuba diving tanks at just 1/3 air capacity. In the beginning, everything was going pretty well, and they were having quite fun in their first diving experience. Lyle and Philip explored the Chasm, which was the deepest spot of the location, till the depth of 98 feet, and after that, they went for a bit of exploration in the Cathedral too. Almost done with what they had initially planned, the duo started swimming back towards the surface. With a bit of time still left, they decided to take a look at a small cave which was present on the southern side of the Chasm, and right on the floor of the Turtle Pond. The pond was just 13 feet deep, so both of them thought it wouldn't be much of an issue, and they'll be done it in no time. Now, because their tanks were at just 1/3 capacity when they started, they were running quite low on air. So, in order to complete the last part of the exploration, Lyle decided to activate his reserve air supply. Up until this point, everything was going according to the plan, but the duo entered the passage to the cave, which was only 3 feet high. Everything started going south. Firstly, the passage was completely mud-filled, a fact that none of them were aware of. As they began to move through this mud-filled narrow path, the once clear water quickly started getting murky, and pretty soon the visibility was almost zero. Panicked and having no idea what to do, Lyle quickly grabbed Philip's left foot as he was ahead of him. With zero visibility and zero understanding of the path ahead, the duo quickly decided to turn around and go back, but when they turned, the murky water made it impossible for them to trace back the path they had come from. At this point, both of the friends were extremely terrified, confused, and low on air. With no idea of where they were and where they had to go, the duo made sure to stay together. But suddenly, Lyle let go of Philip's foot to turn his air supply. This was the last time Philip saw Lyle in that cave. Philip, with the little energy he had in him, started moving and searching for both Lyle and even a bit of life coming from the surface. After a bit of a struggle, he was able to see the path towards the surface, and he quickly swam towards it. After getting in the light, he noticed Lyle hadn't followed him out, and there was no sign of him. So, he decided to go back into the murky water and look for his friend. But even after some searching, he couldn't see any sign of Lyle. With his air getting dangerously low, he had no choice but to go back to the surface and save his own life. Search for Lyle. At this point, Philip had a clear idea that with his level of expertise, there's no way he could locate his friend. So, horrified and scared, he ran to get some help and informed everyone present near the surface about what had happened. With no sign of Lyle till this point, it was clear that something horrible had happened, and now, instead of a young boy, they were looking for a dead body. After some hours, an expert diver named Herman went into the cave to look for Lyle. As the cave wasn't very deep, he was able to locate him within a few minutes. His body was present a few meters inside the tunnel, with his head down at a slit and his feet present against the roof of the cave. Another thing to notice that when Lyle's body was discovered, his diving cylinder was completely empty. What had happened? Now there's no denying that the cause of death was certainly drowning. According to experts, findings, and the post-mortem reports, it was revealed that most probably after letting go of Philip, Lyle completely lost his sense of place and had no idea where he was and where he was supposed to go. In order to find a way out, he started moving fast, which caused his cylinder to run out of air at a faster rate. As he already had low air, the cylinder soon ran out, and he died because of drowning. Who was responsible? According to the officials of the Piccaninnie Ponds, you need to have an official permit to take part in diving in this location. Now, obviously, only those people can get those permits who acquire necessary experience, expertise, and training. Both Philip and Lyle had none of the above. They were young kids who just knew swimming and had no idea that diving, and especially cave diving, was a completely different thing. Their equipment wasn't much up to date, and they didn't have enough air supply to continue the third exploration of the day. Similarly, before you go diving at any location, it's important to know that almost everything about the location and what challenges you may face when you are underwater and several feet away from any sort of help. Contrary to this, the duo had no knowledge about this site. They didn't know the bottom of the cave was muddy, and it will get muddy when they pass through, which eventually became the primary reason for them getting lost and thus Lyle losing his life. There's no denying that with diving, there comes a certain thrill and a sense of adventure, and you get to see the hidden beauty of the underwater world. But it's important to remember that there's lots of danger in this too. Over the years, plenty of people have lost their lives while diving at various locations in the world, and several of them were highly trained and well equipped too. This means that when you are underwater, there's no help nearby and anything can go wrong, and then you must have some training and expertise to help you get through that hurdle. Even after more than 6 decades of diving at this site, no one has ever been to the deepest point of the caves present at the Piccaninnie Ponds. Despite excellent visibility and a depth that's not much compared to other sites, the fact remains that the Piccaninnie Pond caves continue to be beautiful, yet terrifying reality of the diving world.